Hello guys, you're welcome to uComputing's YouTube channel. My name is Eugene. Today, I'm going to take you through how you can create a simple payslip with Microsoft Office Excel. Okay, so what are we expecting to achieve here? If you look at this payslip over here, I have a simple payslip that has company name here, uComputing payslip, May 2021, and with personal information over here regarding the person's pension ID, tax number, and a couple of information over here, which is very easy to do. I'm going to take you through that. And then if you look at the bottom section of this payslip, it talks about the basic salary of this individual, how much holiday allowance he takes per day, overtime allowance he earns. Okay, so at the end of the day, we are expecting to achieve something like this, right? A payslip that has basic information like the month and the year in which this payslip was created, the individual that we created a payslip for, and his personal information like SNCC ID, tax ID, and grade, department the person is working at, the date that the payslip was created, daily rate for the individual, how much the person earns a month, how much pension fund will be deducted from the person's earnings, how much tax this individual is going to pay per that month, and then the net pay. Now, in this payslip, you can see I also have a section that calculates how much this individual earns per day when he comes to work on a holiday, and then how much this individual earns per hour if he does overtime, right? So everything here, most of the stuff here is calculated. So the fun part of this is that if in case this individual's basic daily rate goes up, like let's say from 100 Ghana cedis to 300 Ghana cedis, automatically monthly earnings changes, pension fund he's contributing goes up, how much tax he's paying goes up, or his net pay goes up, and then automatically this also affects his overtime allowance and holiday allowance. When I press Ctrl Key plus Z here to go back, you see that everything reduces automatically. So how do we achieve this? Okay, so over here I've launched a new Excel workbook that doesn't contain any information. We're going to build this thing from scratch, right? So first of all, the payslip is going to contain a table that has 8 columns. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select the first cell over here and move to the right. Okay, so this is 4 cells, 5, 6, 7. Now, when I select these cells, I'm going to combine them by using this merge and center tool over here. So I'm going to click on merge and center, and I'm going to put the title of the payslip. Like for instance, the previous one that I showed you, I used uComputing payslip, and then I indicated a month. So I'm going to put, let's say, May 2021. Now, from the previous Excel I showed you, the title wasn't like this. So I'm going to increase the font size of this particular title over here by using the increase font size tool here. Click continuously, makes it bigger for me, and then I'll change the font type. Using Times New Roman looks much better. Okay, so once I'm done with the title, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to enter personal information for this individual. I'm going to start with the individual's name, but before I do that, I'm going to select multiple cells over here. I'm going to select 3 cells and then merge them again, and then go ahead and put the individual's name. I'm going to put name, my name. That looks good. So we are done with the top section of the payslip, right? The personal information for the individual going to use this payslip. So I'm going to just highlight this whole thing here and then change the font type. I want to use one font type throughout the whole payslip so that it looks consistent. So I'm going to type Times New Roman here in the font section here. You can also click and then scroll through to look for the font that is good for you, okay, if you don't like this type. So this is fine. I'm going to just zoom in here, this whole text, and then click on borders tool and select all borders so that we have these lines over here for it to look good. Now, let's move on to the table that is going to contain information regarding how much this individual is earning. So this our table is going to contain 8 columns. We have already selected 8 columns at the top. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'm going to highlight 8. Okay, just a few rows in addition. And then I'll go to insert. We're about to insert a table that is going to hold the information for this payslip. So I'll click insert here and then go to table and click OK. Right. So we have a very nice table over here. If you don't like how it looks, you can change the table style using these options over here. Right. So if you think the look of this table is not good for you, you can change it. I think this one is okay. I'm going to maintain this. And I'm going to change the font type to from the default. So I'm going to go back to the home and then type Times New Roman here again and press enter to change the font type to Times New Roman. I'm going to adjust these columns over here by double clicking in between each column here so that all the text in the various columns will display. Okay, so these columns need to be labeled, so I'm going to label them starting with description. So I'm going to type here description. Now, if I place 100 over here, if you recall from the previous payslip that I showed you, we had a currency symbol over here. So where is that currency symbol? Right. Now, when you create any table in Excel, you need to instruct the Excel workbook what type of data each column in the table is going to take. Right. So for this table we've created over here, you're going to select column A and tell the Excel spreadsheet that column A is going to take text, right? Column B is going to take currency, right? Column C is going to take monthly earnings is money. So we're going to select currency over here. I'll click on column D and watch where I'm clicking. I'm not selecting this side. Okay, I'm clicking the whole column. So you select the column, you change the data type over here. So I'm changing this. This is money, so this is going to be currency. This section is going to be currency. This section is going to be currency. Right, so we change the data types to currency, currency, currency. This is just text. So I'll click this side and go for text. Set the data type to text. And then the metrics over here is going to be numbers. So I'll click here on column H and change the data type to number. All right. Now, as you can see, the currency symbol has just popped up. Right. This is in Ghana cedis, but it's not like this by default. Right. I'm going to take you through how I changed the symbol, because by default the currency symbol here is in dollars because Microsoft Office was built in US by Microsoft, so they use the US currency as a default currency for the software. So to change the currency, you can use this option over here to change it. Right. So if you are in Europe or Britain, you can change it from here. You can click on this section. If you don't see your currency over here, you can click on this section over here. But you don't do it to just a section or a cell, right? You do it to the whole column. So if you want to change the data type or the currency symbol, you can just click the whole column, come here. After setting it to currency, click on more accounting formats and then look for your currency from here. There are so many currencies over here. If it's too long for you, you can just type the name of your country. So like for instance, when I put GH over here, it gives me the Ghana cedi symbol, GHC and GHS for Ghana cedis, right? So if you don't like this one and you like the GHS option, you can go for this and it changes automatically, right? This is one way of changing it. And then we also have another technique I'm going to show you that you can use to change the currency symbol, right? So let's have a look at that. Now, when I go to start menu on my computer, I'm going to search for control panel, right? So I'll type control here to launch my control panel. Now, when you launch control panel on your computer, you're going to have to look for something that has to do with region, right? So when I go through control panel, I'm looking for something that has to do with region. Now we have region over here. Sometimes the control panel is sorted to category view. Even if it's at category view, you'll still see an option that has to do with region, right? So whether you are in the large view, the small view, or the category view, you look for an option that has to do with region. Now when you click on this, you'll still see another option over here that has to do with region. You click on that, and then you come to, from the format tab, you come to additional settings, and then we have an option here for currency. You go to the currency tab. Most people just stops here and change this, not this place. You go to currency tab. When you go to currency tab, as you can see, my currency has been set to the old Ghana cedi symbol. So if you want the new Ghana cedi symbol, you can just put GH over here, then you get Ghana cedis, right? Another way of doing this too is by just typing GH here, and then you press and hold the Alt key, then you do 155. It brings the cedi symbol, right? If you think this is going to be complicated for you, let me show you another way that is very simple. When you get to this portion, you just open your browser and then you go to probably google.com. When you go to google.com, you just type your currency symbol. If it is a euro symbol, if it is Ghana cedi symbol, whatever it is, you just type it here. So let's see, Ghana cedis. Just type Ghana cedis, and then it brings up the Ghana cedi symbol over here. So you can just do a direct copy and paste. As you can see, the styles we have for the Ghana cedi symbol, there are two of them. The one with the small c that has been cancelled and the bigger one. I prefer the bigger one. So you can just highlight it here, just copy, minimize your browser, and come and paste it in here. Solves your problem. And this is done just once in the lifetime of the Microsoft Office suite application or the Excel application. So when you come back to your Excel spreadsheet and you change the data type to currency, as you can see, you have the beautiful clean Ghana cedi symbol over here. So now, as you can see, this individual over here is having 100 Ghana cedis daily rate. And then you're going to populate this section with information, because I'm going to use it to do some calculation here. So normal working days for any individual should be like 20 days, right? So let me just use 20 here. Let's say this individual over here works 20 days. And then holidays, for now, let me put 0 over here, right? And then we have present days, right? To be, let's say, let's put 20 here. And this is 0. Now, the absent days over here, I'm going to deduct the working days from the present days. The reason why I'm doing this is that the present days can go down. Maybe if the individual is absent for 1 day, the present days is going to be like 19. So the absent days, I'm going to put my first formula in here, is going to be equals. If you're going to make a formula in Excel, you bring an equal sign. That's the first thing. So I'll put equals, and I'll say the bigger one minus the smaller one, right? So how I did it, I clicked the cell. I didn't type. The reason why I clicked the cell is that I want to make sure that anytime the values in these cells changes, the absent days will change automatically. Okay, so I'm going to press enter here. Gives me 1 day here, right? See that the present days has reduced, so it has recorded this person was absent on his payslip for 1 day, right? So if this goes down further to, like, let's say 15 days, it will indicate that this person was absent for 5 days, right? So I'll put it back at 20, so the absent days is 0. Right, now let's move on to the monthly earnings. How do we calculate the monthly earnings for this individual? I'll bring the equal sign again, and the daily rate for this individual is 100 Ghana cedis. So if this person works for a period of 20 days, it's supposed to earn like 2,000, right? But I'm not going to put the 2,000 in here. I want it to be calculated automatically. So I'm going to say the monthly earnings over here is, I'm going to click on the 100 Ghana cedis, and I'm going to bring the asterisk symbol. The asterisk symbol can be typed using shift and the 8 key. That is a multiplication symbol for a computer. So I'm going to bring the asterisk, and then I'm going to click on the present days, right? This means that the daily rate times the number of days that this person came to work equals monthly earnings. So I'm going to press enter here. It calculates automatically for me that this person is going to earn 2,000 cedis if he comes to work for 20 days. I'm going to clean this up by highlighting and going for the delete key. Alright. Now, how do we calculate the tax and then the SNIT for this individual? Right. Every company or every country has their own way of doing this, right? But from the sample that I'm going to do with you, we're going to assume that 10% of this individual's monthly earnings is deducted to pay tax for him. So to calculate how much tax is going to be deducted from this person's monthly earnings, I'm going to bring the equal sign again because this is a formula, and do 10% times, then I'll click on monthly earnings. So 10% of the monthly earnings equals how much? 200 cedis, right? That's how much tax this individual is going to pay on his basic salary. Now, let's move on to the SNIT. In this tutorial, I'm going to use the analogy that the pension fund that is deducted from this individual's salary is 5%, okay, of his basic salary. But when you go to certain companies, it deducts 5% of the individual's salary first. Okay, I think this is typographical error over here. Okay, just like this. So I'm going to calculate 5% of this person's salary by doing equals 5% times this individual's salary. Okay. Now when I press enter, this is 100 Ghana cedis. Now that is not the only amount of money that is sent to the pension trust for employees in my country, for instance. So what happens is that after deducting this 5%, they also calculate 13% of your basic salary, and that one is going to come from your employer, right? So they calculate 5% of your basic salary, which is like this. That one will be deducted, and then they'll calculate 13% of your basic salary as well, and then add it to what they have deducted already and send it to SNIT for you. But that 13% is not going to come from own earnings. It's going to come from the employer. But it still has to be calculated for it to reflect on your payslip so that you know how much SNIT is being paid for you, right? So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to put what I have done so far in a bracket, this one in a bracket, and then I will add another section like this. Okay, so this is 5% of your own money. That one will be deducted, and then 13% of your total salary. That one is going to come from the employer's own pocket, right? But it still has to be calculated. So I'm going to calculate 13% of this amount of money and put it here. So I'll do 13% of your monthly earnings. right? So this one is going to come from you. This one is going to come from your employer. This section will not be deducted from your basic salary, but it still has to reflect on your payslip. So I'm going to go enter here, and it gives me 360 Ghana cedis, right? So they will deduct 100 cedis from my salary, but in the end, the money that will be sent to the pension trust for me is going to be 360 cedis. The employer will top up that money, right? Now, let's have a look at the net pay that will be calculated based on these earnings over here. Now, the net pay in my country is called the take-home salary, because that is what you're going to take home at the end of the day. So the net pay is going to be your basic salary minus these deductions, right? So this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring the equal sign again, and then say click your monthly earnings minus your tax, but I'm going to put this in a bracket. So I'm going to bring an open bracket here, tax plus your SNIT. But if you recall, the SNIT over here, we are not going to deduct this whole thing from your salary. You're going to just deduct 5% of your monthly earnings. So I'm not going to click on this. I'm going to calculate another 5% of your monthly earnings and then place it here. So that is what is going to be deducted from your monthly earnings before they give you the rest to take. So let's have a look at something here. It's going to be plus 5% of your monthly earnings, right? So your take-home salary is going to be your monthly earnings minus your tax plus 5% of your monthly earnings, right? I'm going to press enter. Okay, you have an error over here, and it's good. I like errors. What this is basically telling us is that I opened a bracket over here and I was supposed to close it and I didn't do it. So I'm going to go okay here and then close this bracket here, right, to complete the formula. But I'm going to go enter here. It calculates and tells me that even though this person is going to earn 2,000 cedis a month, it's going to take home 1,700 cedis because we're going to deduct 10% tax and 5% SNIT. Now, let's have some fun here. So this is how much the person is going to take home. I'm going to clean this up at the end of the day. So let's have a look at something. So if this individual was not present for all the 20 days that he or she is supposed to work, and let's say he comes to work for 18 days for some reason, when I press enter here, automatically his take-home salary goes down, right? If it goes down further to let's say 15 days, it shows that this person was absent for 5 days. He came to work for 15 days, so automatically his earnings goes down. Okay, now let's have a look at the holiday allowance. Okay, so how do we calculate the holiday allowance daily rate for this individual? Let's say, for instance, this individual takes 2 times his daily rate on a holiday, right? It's going to be like this. We're going to have a formula that is equal to 2 times daily rate, right? So I'm going to go enter here, and it gives us 200, right? So the 200 cedis is going to be the holiday allowance per day for this individual if he comes to work on a holiday, right? Now, how do we calculate how much this gentleman has earned for his holiday allowance per month, right? That one is also going to be calculated, so I'm going to bring an equal sign here, and then I will say this is equals his daily rate on a holiday times this value over here, the holidays metrics over here. When I press enter, as you can see, this place is 0 because the holidays metrics over here is 0. So if, for instance, in the month of May, in which this gentleman worked, there was 1 holiday, and his boss was like, I still need you to come to work, right? That holiday is going to be recorded over here as 1 holiday, right? So if we get 1 holiday, automatically, because we calculated a formula over here based on this metric, when I press enter here, he gets 200 cedis because he has gotten 1 holiday, so he's supposed to get 1 holiday daily rate allowance. In some cases, every amount of money that an individual earns, they calculate tax on it and all these deductions. If tax is calculated on this holiday allowance over here, all we need to do is that we can extend this formula here and then the tax that is going to be calculated on this earning will display over here. And then if SNIT is going to be calculated, I can extend this also, and the SNIT deduction will be calculated automatically. The net pay can also be calculated automatically for this particular earning by clicking and holding this section of this cell and extending it to the side. So we know this guy earns 600 cedis if he comes to work for 3 holidays, right? But this is what he's going to take home at the end of the day, right? I'm going to set this present day back to 20 by typing 20 here and go for enter key, right? To set this one to default 2000. So the calculation for the holiday allowance is done. Now let's move on to overtime rate. Now, overtime is calculated per hour, right? How much you earn per hour. Everybody is supposed to work 8 hours. Some countries it's 7.5 hours. When you go to certain places, it is 7 hours. So in my country, the Labor Commission expects every individual to work for 8 hours. So if your basic salary is this much and your daily rate is 100 cedis, that means your hourly rate is going to be 100 divided by 8 hours, right? So I'm going to put the equal sign here and calculate this one as well. It's going to be your daily rate, right, divided by 8 hours. Then I'll go enter here, right? It tells me this gentleman, if he's earning 100 cedis, that means his hourly rate is 12.5 Ghana cedis, right? So let's have a look at how we can calculate what he's going to earn at the end of the month, right? So I'm going to just bring an equal sign over here for another formula for how much this individual earns per month on overtime. So I'll say this section, monthly earnings for overtime, is going to be equal to how much he earns per hour times the number of hours that he worked, right? Then I will enter here. So if, let's say, the one who is in charge of creating a payslip calculates based on the attendance system over there and realize that this person worked for maybe 2 hours for this month, when he places 2 over here and goes for the enter key, automatically his monthly earnings or how much he earned within a month will display. If he worked for maybe 10 hours, when he puts 10 over here and press enter, automatically this one goes up. Now let's move on to this section. If you want to calculate the SNIT and tax on this one, I'll just extend, click, hold, extend, click, hold, and extend, right? So if this individual does 10 hours of overtime, he earns 125 cedis, but he's going to take home 106 cedis based on this calculation, right? We're almost there. Now, there's an error over here. There's no problem with the calculation, so I'm going to click this section and go no error. How do we know how much this individual is going to take home? So I'm going to just highlight this whole thing over here to the total section and go to sum. So at the end of the day, this gentleman is going to take home 2,316 cedis, 25 pesos, right? I'm going to clean this up using ignore error. And then let's see his total monthly earnings, how much he got for this month. I'm going to just highlight this whole thing here and go to sum here. Let's clean up this error. And as you can see, this gentleman earned 2,725 cedis, but this is what he's going to take home, right? So on his payslip, we can just bold in this, indicate over here that his amount payable is going to be equals this section. Go enter. Job done. Okay, so this is where we're going to end it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you and goodbye.